Once upon a time, in a cozy little village nestled between rolling green hills and a sparkling river, lived a young woman named Elara and her bright-eyed son, Leo. Their cottage was small, with a thatched roof and a tiny garden where they grew colorful flowers and crunchy vegetables. They didn't have many shiny toys or fancy clothes, but their home was always filled with something much more precious: love and laughter. Every morning, the sun would peek through their window, and Leo would wake up to the sound of his mother humming a sweet tune. They would share a simple breakfast of warm porridge and fresh berries, their days woven together with stories, songs, and endless affection. One sunny afternoon, while exploring the edge of the woods, Leo stumbled upon an old, forgotten loom tucked away behind a thicket of bushes. It was dusty and covered in cobwebs, with one of its wooden legs a little wobbly. "Mama, look what I found," he shouted, his voice full of excitement. Elara came over, her eyes lighting up with an idea. She remembered watching her grandmother weave when she was a little girl, transforming plain threads into beautiful patterns. With Leo's help, they carried the loom back to their cottage. Elara cleaned the loom carefully, mending the wobbly leg and restringing the threads. Her fingers, though new to the craft, seemed to remember a forgotten dance. She decided to weave what she saw and loved most: the world around her. Her first tapestry showed the sun rising over the hills, its golden threads shimmering just like the morning light. Another showed the river, with threads of silver and blue twisting and turning like the water itself. She wove a tapestry of the forest, with deep greens and rich browns, and another of the wildflowers in their garden, bursting with pink, purple, and yellow. Leo would sit by her side for hours, watching in awe as a field of poppies or a star-filled night sky appeared on the loom. "It's like magic, Mama," he would whisper. With a small collection of her beautiful tapestries, Elara decided to try selling them at the village market. She hoped to earn a little extra money for some new shoes for Leo and perhaps a warm blanket for the winter. She set up a small stall between a baker selling crusty bread and a farmer with a cart full of rosy apples. But the day was slow. People hurried past, their eyes set on more practical things. Some glanced at her work, smiled, and moved on. Her tapestries, full of heart and beauty, remained unsold. Elara felt a little discouraged, but she didn't give up. She knew that every thread she wove held a piece of her heart, and she believed in her creations. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the market square, a tired-looking man with a kind face stopped by her stall. His clothes were dusty from a long journey, and he leaned heavily on a walking stick. He wasn't looking to buy anything. He just needed a moment to rest. "Could I trouble you for a cup of water?" he asked, his voice weary. Without a second's hesitation, Elara poured him a cup from her own flask and offered him the last piece of bread she had brought for her lunch. They sat together in the fading light, and she told him about her son, her village, and her love for weaving, never once mentioning her disappointment from the day. The man listened intently, his gaze drifting over the vibrant tapestries that hung behind her. He saw the sunrise, the river, and the flowers, and he saw the kindness in Elara's eyes. The next morning, just as Elara was about to start weaving, there was a knock on her door. It was the man from the market, but today he looked different. He was dressed in fine clothes, and a sturdy carriage waited for him down the lane. "My name is Silas," he said with a warm smile. "I am a scout for a great merchant in the city. Yesterday, I saw not only the incredible talent in your hands, but also the wonderful kindness in your heart." He explained that he traveled through many villages, looking for unique crafts and honest artisans. "Your tapestries are unlike anything I have ever seen," he continued, "and your character is just as rare." Silas then unrolled a scroll. It was a letter from the merchant, who had heard all about Elara from Silas. The merchant was so impressed by the description of her work and her spirit that he wanted to place a large order. A very large order. He wanted 100 of her tapestries to sell in his famous shop in the city. He offered a price that made Elara's heart leap with joy. It was more money than she had ever imagined, enough to change their lives completely. Elora looked at Leo, whose eyes were as wide as saucers, and then back at Silas. With a trembling voice full of gratitude, she accepted. It felt like a dream. All her hard work, her patience, and that simple act of kindness had led to this incredible moment. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity. The merchant sent an advance payment, which allowed Elora to buy the finest threads in every color of the rainbow. Her little cottage was soon filled with spools of vibrant wool and shimmering silk. The rhythmic clack of the loom became the new heartbeat of their home, a sound of hope and creation. Elora worked tirelessly, her hands flying across the threads. She wove tapestries of every season, the fresh green of spring, the bright sun of summer, the fiery colors of autumn, and the quiet white of winter. Each piece was a masterpiece, filled with the beauty of her village and the warmth of her spirit. Leo helped by organizing the threads and telling her stories to keep her company while she worked. With the money from her first big order, Elora's life transformed, but not in the way some might expect. The first thing she did was buy Leo a sturdy pair of new shoes and the warmest goose-down blanket she could find. Then, instead of moving to a big house in the city, she decided to invest in her own community. She rented a large, airy barn and turned it into a weaving workshop. She bought several looms and invited other villagers who were struggling to come and work with her. She patiently taught them her craft, sharing her skills and her passion. Soon, the workshop was filled with the cheerful chatter of women and the steady rhythm of weaving. The workshop became a beacon of hope in the village. Women who once had little opportunity now earned a good living, able to support their own families. The village began to thrive. Elora's business flourished as her reputation for creating beautiful, high-quality tapestries grew far and wide. Orders came in from all over the kingdom, but Elora never forgot where she came from. She made sure her workers were paid fairly and treated with respect. She organized village feasts and used her profits to help build a new school and repair the old bridge over the river. She became more than just a successful weaver. She became a beloved leader and a friend to everyone. Years passed, and Elora's little cottage was now a comfortable, happy home. Leo grew into a fine young man, just as kind and generous as his mother. Elora was respected and admired by everyone, not for her wealth, but for her enormous heart. She had shown everyone that true success isn't about how much you have, but about how much you give. It's found in hard work, in the courage to keep going when things are tough, and most importantly, in the simple kindness you show to others. And so, Elora and Leo lived a life that was not just comfortable, but truly rich and deeply fulfilled, their story woven into the heart of the village forever. Thanks for listening to this story. Remember to be kind, work hard, and never stop believing in your dreams. Don't forget to follow for more wonderful stories.